call the regular meeting of the Cumberland Fire District on this Thursday, September 27th, to order. I'd like to take a roll call, please. Commissioner Archibald.
Here.
Commissioner Jones. Here. Commissioner Santoro. Here. Commissioner Hogan.
Here.
Commissioner Picone.
Here.
Commissioner Scullin.
Here.
And I am here. Could we please stand for a moment of silence? And before we stand, I would like to devote our moment of silence to firefighter Chris Borges, who we all know is not with us. We are very saddened at the loss of the brother firefighter, and we will continue to mourn his loss for a while. So if we could stand for a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Are there any general announcements?
Madam Chair, I have a couple.
Commissioner Scullin.
First off, to go back to what's been going on the last couple of months with this financial status and some theories about what Valley Falls did or didn't do, or somebody's assumption of what we've done. I'd like to hand out these to all the board members. That's the agenda and the minutes of the final annual meeting of Valley Falls Fire District, which clearly shows a tax rate was proposed and approved by the voters. There was no nefarious activity, as some would like to say, because since day one of this board, Valley Falls and North Cumberland have been targets of countless attacks about finances with no basis and just, in my opinion, made up numbers, and just the way this board is run. And to follow that up, at not the special meeting, the meeting before that, we had this issue with the finance director increasing her pay. I was not here at that meeting. I would have voted against that. And quite frankly, I don't think she deserves it. I think her job has become very political on her end. And quite frankly, the new board, I hope, removes her, because she is not doing the job, quite frankly. She has an agenda which is not in the best interest of anybody.
So when someone works 80 hours a week and gets paid 20, you think that that person has an agenda?
Oh, do we fill out time cards? Is there, those numbers are thrown around left and right. I work from home, I do this, I empty the trash, I'm not interested in that. When she puts on that display in June, that's what I'm interested in. That was all garbage, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. I have to disagree with you, but that's fine. I have to disagree with you, so.
That's good.
Okay. Any other general announcements?
I do. I have one more.
Okay.
There was also an issue of the tax collector status, and I was expecting that to be on the agenda, but I see nothing on there. Does she work for us? Doesn't she work for us? Are we ever going to find out, or am I going to have to find out from the firefighters who works for us and who doesn't?
Who are you referring to?
No.
We have,
Ms. Fontaine.
who is working for us.
What is this?
According to resolution, or on reduced hours, that was brought up, and we were going to be made abreast of that situation, and we haven't.
I thought we'd,
We can if you want. I mean,
yeah,
it's just information.
yeah. I thought we had the information, but,
No, the problem was that she was hired by the board. And only the board can change her working conditions.
Hired by whom, sir? Who is she hired by?
The board, this board.
The tax collector?
Right. We discussed that, and that was supposed to be brought up again. And we don't have that anyway here.
I think I recall having some discussion about that.
is your mic on?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I faintly recall some discussion about that, the tax collector.
So maybe at next month's meeting, it'd be on the agenda?
Mr. Scullin? Absolutely, if you request to have it on the agenda, it will be on the
I'm
agenda.
requesting.
Okay.
Jim, is there a financial report with this? It's just the agenda,
Right, in the minutes.
but there's no financial report. That was all about the financial report, wasn't it?
No.
The finances of it was all about the finances of Valley Falls.
The tax rate.
It was about the finances, what was left in the budget. That was
No,
what
no,
all that
that's-
was about.
The question was that the board changed the tax rate, and we did it. That was the question.
No, if I recall, you were saying there was more money left in the budget than what she was saying there was left in the budget. You were distributing what was left.
Well, I
In the-
disputed
in
all
the
their
budget.
financial records, because they dismissed all the Valley Falls people. And they paid somebody to stay home, because they didn't want anybody looking
But
at
the records would still be there. Wouldn't the records still be there?
Oh, I can produce that for you.
That's what she produced.
No, she didn't. She made up numbers.
So it was my understanding, and I don't want to belabor this point, but, the accusations, we've been going through this for years. It's my understanding that the tax collector was offered the job, but did not want to drive to headquarters. Was that it?
Is this on?
Yeah.
The tax collector was not available to work during normal business hours.
That's what it was, and wanted to work at night, but we were running a business.
The treasurer did not want to drive to headquarters where everything was located. We now
Okay.
had a headquarters after we merged. The treasurer didn't want to drive to the headquarters, so he abruptly resigned. No notice, he resigned.
Okay.
The tax collector was not able to work during normal business hours. So even if we had a position available for her, she could not work before 4:30 in the afternoon.
Okay, so that was my understanding. So that's why that's why two people from Valley Falls who were capable of receiving those jobs did not take those jobs.
Again, that's not true. The treasurer was not allowed access to any records. He could just go up there and sit there and do nothing. And the tax collector was locked out of her computer and denied access.
Okay.
And then they decided just to pay her to stay home. Is that how you run a business? No.
Well, they do in New York City with teachers.
That's what we did, because we're not running a business, we're running a little group, selective group.
Any other general announcements?
Madam Chair, I have one. Next Tuesday, Walgreens is offered to do flu shots, shingle shots, and pneumonia shots. The shingles and the shingle shots are for anybody 50 years old and older. There might be a slight charge for the Syndric vaccine that they're offering, depending on our healthcare coverage, and they won't know that till they see our healthcare coverage. But it is the flu shots and the pneumonia shots are free. It will be at Station 2, 1530 Cumberland, Mendon Road in Cumberland, starting at 4 until the end. There is a sign-up sheet. It was on the table. I don't know if it's up on the dais now, but if you're interested, just sign up on that sheet so that we can have a projected count for them on Monday. Thank you.
And if I could
That's
just,
open to spouses and children older than 19.
if I could just piggyback that. Yeah. My other job is a doctor. Last year was the worst flu season in 120 years. This year is predicted to be just as bad as last year. 80,000 deaths last year, and they're predicting possibly more than 80,000 deaths this year. So I recommend, highly recommend, getting the flu shot early, as in like next week. And Walgreens is giving the flu shot. I don't have any stock in Walgreens or anything, but the good thing about Walgreens is if you get one, they will give one to somebody in a third world country for free. So it's a bonus. So I highly recommend getting the flu shot early.
It's a good suggestion.
And Chief, a lot of credit for the department for doing this. Thank you.
Any other general announcements? Moving on. Approval of the minutes from the 28th of August. Is there a motion on the table?
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept by Commissioner Santoro. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion? Commissioner Scullin?
I'm going to abstain. I was not at the regular meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, go to a vote. All in favor of accepting the minutes from August 28th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And one abstain. Passes 6-0. All right, approval of the minutes from 9/6/18, special meeting. Is there a motion on the table to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept by Commissioner Archibald. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Santoro. Any discussion?
Madam Chair, I'll
Commissioner Hogan.
recuse myself. I wasn't at that meeting.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go to a vote. All in favor of accepting the minutes from September 6th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0 with one abstain. All right. Chief Finley, I believe this is your moment.
It's not my moment in particular. In your packets tonight, you will see a communication that happened today on the groundbreaking of the firefighters' memorial for the state of Rhode Island. Rhode Island happens to be one of the oldest states in the Union, and it happens to be one of 3 states in the Union that does not have a centralized firefighters' memorial to honor past firefighters. This project was spearheaded about 3 years ago by the president of the Fire Chiefs Association at the time, Rick Petrin. He put Chief Scott Cattell from North Kingston in charge of it and started to move forward. They finally agreed on a location at the Rhode Island Fire Academy in Exeter, Rhode Island. Got through the paperwork with the state because the state owns the land. Department of Business Administration, who the Fire Academy now falls under, had to accept ownership on completion of the project. All of that was signed off earlier this month. And today we were fortunate to have the groundbreaking for this ceremony. The 100 Club of Rhode Island has stepped up with a $50,000 donation to start things off, along with the $25,000 that the Rhode Island Fire Chiefs Association and the Rhode Island Fire Chiefs Foundation put in to get the project offhand. For your consideration at a future meeting, there is some blocks being sold as a way to offset the costs. There is other fundraising events going on. We're pretty excited about the in-kind work that we are receiving that's described in the brochure from some of the partners in the state. So this is a project 100 years in coming, and it's going to come to fruition by the summer of 19 is the grand opening prospect for it. So if I can answer any questions, I will try, but other than that, that's basically information for tonight. And if we choose to move forward in some type of donation in the future, I'm sure it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
All right, it looks like it will be a beautiful memorial, if that is what the drawing was showing. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the World War II memorial in Washington, D.C. Be very touching. And I would expect that our fire committee would be happy to authorize a donation of some sort when they're ready to accept donations for these plaques. Any questions for the chief?
Chief, that's in close proximity of the Veterans Cemetery, correct? Almost on the next lot.
It's in close proximity. I would say it's about a quarter of a mile northeast of the Veterans Cemetery. You have to drive by the east entrance of the Veterans Cemetery to get to the fire academy. If you're familiar with the old last school property.
Well, I'm familiar with the academy itself, so.
Yeah, this would be on the south side of the academy, in the big lawn area in the front.
Okay, thank you.
This is gonna all be funded by donations?
Yes, it's a completely donation-needed project. The budget for the project is about $150,000, and we're about 50% there now.
Okay. Well, if anyone has any bright ideas about fundraising other than a bake sale at a fire committee meeting, that would be great. This would be a great time to start thinking about maybe something in the spring.
Well, they're selling, it says here they're selling raffle tickets, $20 a ticket for, to help with the fundraising.
Also selling blocks for the walkway.
Pavers.
100 paver blocks engraved, $150, $300, and $500, so it could be considered in the future also to represent Cumberland.
Those blocks you walk on, or those blocks on the wall?
There are opportunities for both. There'll be blocks in the wallway, and there's also the perimeter wall. If you look at the cover, the perimeter wall will also have block opportunities.
Yeah, they're nice. I used to buy them on the Chris Borges.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's put our heads together and think about what we can do to support that. Any further questions? All right, moving on. Chief's report. What was August like? Chief?
August went by very quick. We had quite a few events going on along with the responses. Probably one of the bigger events for the firefighters was the toucher truck, which was a resounding success for anybody that had the chance to stop in. We've been having our weekly meetings with FEMA Region 1 and REMA on the Valley Falls Rail exercise, which a week from tonight I can say will be completed because it is next Wednesday. It is a go. We had the final planning meeting this morning and this afternoon on site. Just about all the loose ends are tied up, and we will be moving forward. The VIP tour, which would be narrated, will begin at 1800 hours at the current police station. And they have buses for the dignitaries that are going to visit the different sites. And when I say the different sites, it's going to be the operations at the Cumberland EOC. Excuse me. The Cumberland EOC, the Martin Street site, where the boots on the ground will be taking process, and the Pawtucket Central Falls EOC, where we're simulating that there's a failure at the Cumberland EOC and we have to move operations. The three things moved combined are a large-scale event, even on FEMA standards. Like I say, it is moving forward, even with the people that they have dispatched to the Carolinas right now. The impending shutdown doesn't seem to be affecting it, or the talk of a shutdown has really diminished in the last week. So everything is a go on that. It starts at 4. The drill starts at 4. We've pre-staged some equipment ahead of time, but the drill starts at 4, and it's going to go to midnight because, once again, they've never really done anything at night, and they wanted to see how we could muster operations with lighting units and what additional hazards would be involved with the nighttime operation. So we have these things all in play, the necessary lighting units. We have the safety offices. We have the scenarios out, and it's just a matter of executing the drill at this point. We have a high confidence level that we'll be able to succeed. I know there's going to be some injects that are going to be thrown at us that even I haven't been privy to at this point, just to test the first responders' ability to adapt. So it's going to be a very interesting event.
So I'm sorry to interrupt again. We can't actually go to the actual scene itself. We have to.
Oh no, you'll be able to go to the scene. The responders are going to be told, this is a hot zone, you have to be in level A, but as far as the dignitaries, it will be stipulated that, if this was an actual scene, you wouldn't be allowed in here, but so that you can see the operations that they're doing, we're going to bring you in, just so you can view the operations.
And we have to wait till 6 o'clock?
Yeah.
Bummer. Okay.
Well, that's when it's going to start.
Yeah.
4 o'clock.
Well, the drill starts at 4.
That's right.
It's going to be between 4 and 5:30. It will be setup time, marshaling resources and getting them together. 6 o'clock will really be when they start actively working on. There's 4 scenarios that are based in the area of the rail cars, and it's going to be 3 leaks, or 3 vaporizations and 1 leak that the hazmat teams will have to deal with. So, there's been, an extensive amount of work that has gone into this up until now. So hopefully we come out in real good condition, and the training video, which they are videoing the whole operation, can be used as a training film throughout the country. So the layout was made so that it would be adaptable to just about any community that has rail traveling through it. And just a matter of applying our principles to their location. So that all is a go. As you know, at the special meeting, we accepted the SAFER grant. We're moving through getting all the paperwork set up for the SAFER grant acceptance and the transfer of money. We're also working through getting a list in place, which now means hiring 3 people, 2 which will be funded, and 1 to replace firefighter Borges.
Sorry. This is going to sound like a dumb question, but how are you going to decide, of the 3, which one is going to be the full-time person and which 2 are the SAFER grants?
the one that scores highest will be the replacement, and the next two will be the safer personnel.
At the
It'll
end
go by
of
score.
at the end of the academy?
The academy only starts in February,
So it'll be the one at the end of the interview process?
at the end of the interview process, yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
They will have to complete the academy successfully to be accepted. The other issue, and this only developed at about 4:15 this afternoon, is the RISE upgrades for the stations. And I was informed at 3:45 by Brian Pinsence that National Grid will only fund the two most expensive projects. That we would have to find another source to fund the two lower projects, which finance director and I have combined to come up with. It's about $16,000 in material that we would have to fund. That was a process that was going on. I was really hopeful that they would take on the amortization for all four buildings, but they came back today and stated they would only do the two most expensive, that we would have to do the other two. So I don't know if we're going to need to amend the resolution or if we just need to table it. That will be for the solicitor to determine for us. But that was just a late afternoon notice to me. So I still think the project is viable. The end result is going to be a savings. The $16,000 is basically a cost for material. I'm not sure where the labor rate is going, but the amount of lighting that they're putting in at Station 5 and Station 2 that we would be responsible for, there's quite a bit of retrofit that has to be done in those two buildings. If we choose not to do it, we're going to be caught with buying new fixtures and paying an electrician to put it in. So I still think this is the more viable way of doing things.
Madam Chair, if I may. Due to the lateness of this, and I understand, Chief, that if you got it at 4:15, there wasn't, much time to, it's a great proposal, but my recommendation, just my personal opinion, would be to table this till we get a little bit more information and see what the total savings might be for us overall. Thank you.
Okay, so we can, let's discuss this when we reach the resolution. Okay?
Fine.
Good. All right, great. Okay.
And publicly, I want to acknowledge all of the participation from the family of Chris Borges, from the commissioners, the members of the fire department, the surrounding communities that came in and covered during the wake and the service for Chris. It was greatly appreciated by all, that, including his family, especially his family, who was very relieved and satisfied and comforted by the show of support that they had in a most difficult time. Thank you.
Chief, how are we doing with the engine on duty currently?
We are down to one long-term. It's been very long-term. That has had corrective surgery, and we're waiting to see if that will be a return to work corrective surgery or not. That person has filed with the pension board, but has not even been sent to the subcommittee for disability yet. And we have one other injury that appears to be just a small strain, a small muscle strain. They don't think it will be a lengthy out, but other than that, those are the only two. The other major surgery, the major shoulder surgery employee will be returning Monday.
Great, thank you.
Chief, I'm looking at the breakdown of incidents, and I noticed that in August, there were 222 EMS calls, and that's excluding the vehicles with accident, the vehicle crashes. And I just figured it out, 60% of our calls. 63, thank you. Oh, look, it says it's 60%. Here I am doing the math, and it's already written there for me. So I was right on target, though. Not bad. I just wanted to point that out to people, that 60%, right, we don't get any reimbursement. 60% of the calls that we make are EMS calls. Any further comments?
Madam Chair, I did speak with the Deputy Director of the Rescue Service, and I will defer to his comments to you in private, as they would not be appropriate for public discussion.
We just put it out there, Commissioner Santoro. You might want to mention what one of the comments were.
You had mentioned some of the questions about, the disability and the injuries, and, how that would flow in terms of reimbursement. And he would like to discuss those with you directly, rather than go through me.
Okay.
So he asked that you would just call him personally and have a one-on-one discussion with him about that, instead of having me be the intermediary.
I wasn't expecting that you would be the intermediary. You were just asking the question. So, sure, that'd be great.
He did indicate that he is more than willing to work with the fire department in any way possible.
I'm very happy to hear that. That's good news. Excellent, thank you. Any other questions? All right. Diane, you want to review the financial report, please?
There is a revised July report in there, and that is based on the discussion we had last month about breaking down revenue into 12 months.
Sorry. If I could stop you there. Is there a motion on the table to accept the chief's report? Motion by Commissioner Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Santoro. All in favor of accepting the chief's report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. Thank you for reminding me.
That was Dana.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones, for reminding me. All right. Financial report.
I revised July so that I will be breaking down revenue, dividing it by 12, so that we have a more even bottom line. We did pay some very large bills in July, so we still will have a loss. Our bottom line is, if you look at our year-to-date, we will still show a loss, because in July we paid $225,000 in hydrant fees and over $200,000 in insurance. So that will even out as the months go on, but I just wanted to explain that that's what's contributing to the bottom line. I'm not breaking out any of those numbers. I have just decided that I'm just breaking out revenue, and that way, when you look at that last column, the percentage year-to-date, what's been expended, I think it's easier to read. Yes?
Those two numbers, the 227 and those insurance numbers, were they for the prior year? Or are they for the...
Cumberland bills us for hydrant fees once a year in July, and that's for this fiscal year. And same thing with insurance.
The current year going forward? Are they...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the current fiscal year. So if you look at July, it looks to me like we're doing really well. We're on track. I don't see anything unusual so far, but we're only 2 months into the year. We have collected, by the end of August, 58% of our tax revenue. I checked it again today, and we're up to 60%. Patrick is in the process of sending out about 1,000 final notices to people that have not paid any taxes yet. Our upcoming second quarter is due October 15th. We are putting an ad in the Valley Breeze to remind people if they forgot to pay that first quarter. And if we are giving everybody a due date of November 15th, this was all based on the bylaw changes that we made last year. And after November 15th, we will start a tax sale list and start those proceedings. I want to mention too, Patrick has also been working on sending out some delinquent letters prior to this and has collected some back taxes. He is doing an excellent job on our tax collections and managing the tax office. Does anybody have any other questions about the finance reports?
I'm not sure if it's appropriate to ask during the finance report, but in the finance overall department, how much did we save in salary for the lost employee?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part of your question. How much did we save?
The employee that you emailed us about that's no longer working, how much was she?
With the changes we've made, and I think we spoke about this at the last meeting, that we are trying to do some reorganizing, and we have done some reorganizing, and the office is running much more efficiently,
Yeah.
on a smaller staff.
Yeah.
And we will probably be saving about $20,000.
$20,000.
$20,000 in admin.
That's almost like 16,
salaries.
that's almost like 16,000. That's good.
So I worked those numbers today, and there will be a savings.
Excellent.
Any other questions for the finance director?
Just thinking ahead.
Is there a motion on the table to accept the finance reports?
Motion to accept the finance report for July.
Is there a second? Second, motion to accept for July's by Commissioner Santoro, seconded by Commissioner Archibald. So all in favor of accepting July's financial report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Passes 6-1. All right, is there a motion on the table to accept August's financial report?
Diane, what is that Webster Bank?
I'm sorry?
Line 1012.
Is that on the balance sheet?
No. It's on the asset, the balance sheet. Current assets. line
1012?
1012, Webster Bank.
When we obtained the TANs, we opened an account at Webster Bank with
Oh, okay.
$100,000 in it. That money is our money to use if we need it, but we determined that it would be best to keep it there to keep our relationship with them,
Sure.
because we will most likely need to do it again next year.
Okay. So they were the bank we used for the TAN.
They were,
Okay.
yes.
All right, great. Thank you.
Any other questions on the August report?
That's tax collected.
Is there a motion on the table again to accept the August report?
Webster?
Motion to accept.
Motion by Commissioner Santoro. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Pacone. All in favor of accepting the August report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Passes 6-1.
I did have a question on the discussion. I'm sorry. You went kind of quickly.
Well, I really didn't, because I asked twice, but that's okay.
Can I ask you a question, please?
Sure.
Thank you. I noticed that there was a motor vehicle tax refund.
We don't bill motor vehicle taxes, so tell me what you're looking at. Oh, I know what, I do know what that is.
Yeah, abatements.
The town,
Was that later in the abatements?
if the town discovers
It's in the
that you
abatements.
have a motor vehicle registered in another state, they will charge you a motor vehicle tangible tax. A couple of times in the last couple of years, it shows up on our tax roll, and we don't catch it, we didn't see it. But we don't bill motor vehicle taxes, so somebody must have paid it, and I'm assuming we issued a refund.
Commissioner Santoro, I believe that's on the resolution?
Is he abatements? I'm sorry.
Yes.
My bad.
All right, so we can move on now to the resolutions.
Sorry, Diane, my bad.
All right.
I apologize. Thank you for explaining that to me, Diane.
So, looking at Resolution 2018, number 25. Authorizing the finance director to abate and/or adjust $868.58 for the months of June, July, and August for a number of accounts. And this resolution would allow the finance director to be authorized to abate and/or adjust $868.58 for the months of June, July, and August of 2018. Is there discussion or questions?
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept by Commissioner Archibald. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones.
So Diane, you were saying if a car was registered out of state,
Well, that's the way it was explained to me. I think that if you have a car that's registered in another state, but you are living here,
yeah,
and they discover that your car is registered in another state, then they may charge you at a tangible tax rate, rather than your motor vehicle taxes if it was registered in this state. We're not allowed to do that. We don't charge for motor vehicle taxes. So sometimes we see it on the tax roll, or we don't see it, we miss it, and then we have to abate it. The town has the right to do it, but we don't.
okay. Thank you.
So like if someone has their car registered in Florida,
Sure. I don't understand, how would he have gotten a tax bill from us in the first place?
I'm sorry?
How would he have gotten a tax bill from us in the first place?
Well, the town put it on a tangible tax, so it shows up on a town tax bill. So it just shifted over to ours, even though it shouldn't have.
Oh, okay. They sent, I got it.
Correct. We get all our information from the town, so whatever they're billing, we bill. Some of what they bill, we do have to adjust.
Okay, so out of the so many numbers, we really can't go
And
through
some of these
one by
slip
one by
through,
one by
there's
one.
really no way to
I got you.
split them out,
Yep,
so.
it's just too many. Thank
Okay.
you.
okay.
I wish we could tax the cars, but, I mean, if we could tax cars as well as, I mean, that car's sitting in Cumberland, registered out of state. If that car catches on fire, is the chief going to say, yeah,
Yeah, but that on your campaign flyer.
Yep.
I'm gonna. If they don't vote for me, too bad. I mean, are we going to say, no, your car's on fire? Call Attleboro, where you work? Or this guy works in Cranston, and his car's registered out of state. I know this guy. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, so he drives on our roads, gets into a car accident, uses our tax, uses, our EMS, uses our firefighting, car burns, our firefighter gets hurt, and it's not being taxed. So,
Well, he is paying a fire tax, so,
paying fire tax for his home,
right.
you hope, I mean, yeah, I'm sure,
So at least he's doing that.
yeah. I just wish we were taxing cars and,
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome. Can we vote on this resolution? All in favor of accepting the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes 7-0. Let me get to the next resolution. Resolution number 26, authorizing the business manager to pay CNS Specialty repair an amount not to exceed $3,446.23 for repairs on engine 1. All repairs have been made with the approval of the chief. Therefore, we would be allowing the business manager to pay CNS Specialty an amount not to exceed $3,446.23. Any discussion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Scullin, seconded by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Hogan?
just a quick question for the chief. Chief, is this CNS one of our regular vendors?
Yes, they are. We use CNS when we get to pump issues because they have emergency vehicle technicians, and when you're dealing with a pump, you really need a certified technician so that the liability is transferred from us to the technician. This isn't a scope of work Ralco or S&D would readily be available to do, and when we discussed it with them, it's more technical than just a vehicle chassis or electrical repair. This is all part of the pump system.
Thank you, Madam.
They were able to put it, you know, all the work was done. Some of the, what happens is the inner valve is plastic, and if it gets a little score in that, as you're charging the pump, even though you're not using the line, that valve is for, with the score in the valve, it'll allow water to go through, and it will unintentionally charge the hose line in the bed. So it was an intricate dismantling of the valves to get them all apart, get the housings cleaned out, new valves put in. I think there was like 3 or 4 areas, 3 or 4 valves that needed work. While they were under there, they have a lift. We noticed some decay on the chassis. They were able to strip the powder coat paint off and put a material called POR on to seal the chassis up to extend the life, along with air tanks that were showing age and rot issues from the salt and the calcimine they use in the winter. So it was an extensive repair, but the truck is in. It was worth doing for that truck. It's a very worthwhile truck.
Thank you.
Chief, is that truck back on the road?
Yes, it is.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's go to a vote. Oh, wait, we didn't, yes, we did. There was a motion on the table.
I don't recall. 'cause
Wait,
we
I don't
usually
think,
write it
yeah.
I made a motion to approve.
You did make a motion to approve, and Commissioner Jones seconded. I was trying to figure out what I was going to write it on. All in favor of approving this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. Okay, resolution number 27, authorizing the fire chief to manage the LED lighting energy efficient project for all stations with Rise Engineering and National Grid.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Chief, I was mostly following you when you talked about the 2 projects that wouldn't be financed. So does that mean that you're going to have to pay the Station 2 and Station 5 upfront and not in 36 months?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, that's all I needed to know.
Can we discuss this now? We have to wait for, like, motion stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, we can just.
Yep, we can discuss it.
So I have an idea. Since one of our employees has been let go, and we saved $20,000, I don't know how the moving of money goes around, but $20,000 has just been saved, and we have $16,000 in need. Can we somehow legally move money and use $16,000 of that $20,000 we saved to make this money usable to put the LED lights in now. You know what I'm saying? It's a win-win. You know what I'm saying, Jim? You're looking at me like I'm kind of...
Well, it's a budget amendment, so we can't do it right now. You have to get it on the agenda as such and change this motion, so.
Ms. Morris, how would we make it work, the $20,000 that was in Diane's office staff budget, $16,000 of it be used for the LED lighting?
What Mr. Scullin just said.
So we need 2 votes.
In a new resolution, so
Yeah.
I think Mr. Hogan was right on, and we should table this to rewrite this resolution to reflect what's actually going to be done, then we'll have to work on the other part as a different resolution.
So a resolution for next meeting?
No, I think, if I may, Madam Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt. I think if we just table it and then work out the details with the finance, and we'll just table it until the next meeting, and we can get more information on this, Diane, and the chairwoman or whatever can work on the legal aspect of it, and then we can discuss it next meeting.
Could we amend this motion? I mean, I'm asking Ms. Morris, can I amend the current motion we have to do this?
Well, I mean, 17,000 is not,
16,000, right, Chief?
well, I just added it twice. It came up to 17,008.12. I mean, unless my math is wrong.
Chief?
So anyway,
Where?
it's not insignificant. I do agree that there needs to be a budget amendment, so you could do them both at the same time. I guess my question would be, how quickly did you have to get this done? Is this an emergency? Is this something that can wait a month, Chief?
I believe it can wait a month.
Okay. So yeah, what we would do is present a budget amendment, and I could just do an A and make the change in here, offering to pay the 17,000 and change upfront, and we'll recalculate the estimated monthly payments. Mostly everything else would stay the same, but you could do that all at your next meeting.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Will a budget amendment require budget hearings?
I have to look at it.
I think it
I mean, it's
does.
different for amendments, yeah, than it is for the budget, the initial budget. It's
I think it
gonna-
may require budget hearings.
It absolutely requires a hearing. I just don't know how many and how many
Okay.
votes, because I wasn't thinking of.
We
well,
do have
didn't know about it.
a capital improvement line item in our budget. We do have money
Well,
in
that's
capital
actually
improvement.
one way of looking at it. I mean, maybe you should all
So-
discuss that. You could discuss that now, because you're on this resolution. So you could talk about where you prefer to take the money from. I don't think you'd need a budget amendment to take it out of capital improvements.
I don't think so either.
But,
We are realizing a cost savings every month. So it's a 17,000 cost, but there is a net cost
right.
of, I think the net cost comes to $6,400, $6,300. So,
And the savings also, if I can, in the last whereas paragraph, it's not just the 36 months in savings, it's also, it will eventually be paid off by the savings, between 3.4 and 4.3 years, depending on which station. So eventually, the cost gets paid off, but it's, in the future.
Well, I would prefer to table it so we can rewrite the whole thing so we can see it, and the chief can give him time to get it done. We found out late this afternoon that
Right.
their plan was, so he can get the full picture for us. So I make a motion to table.
Could I just add one thing before you make the motion, please? I'm just wondering, and I think it's a question about, I'm wondering where everybody kind of stands on where the line item, where this amount will come from. And, I would be in favor of removing it from capital improvement. I'm just saying.
$25,000 in that expense. So if the chair.
I'm just wondering, we don't have to make a decision right now. I'm just testing the waters here.
I think
where
it take, you know,
people think-
vetting it for a month. If the chief is okay with waiting a month, you know. I also hear, you know, putting money into Station 2, it's gonna be, we have to, you know, understand that building's not gonna be replaced. You know, we want it replaced, it needs to be replaced, but I think we have to try and save money any way we can. So I agree with Tim. Vetting this out for a month makes sense.
Just a quick question, if I may.
Yeah.
Yes.
Madam Chair. If we took the money out of the capital gains, and then you said we have another $20,000 savings from that position or whatever
will
it is,
have approximately-
would we need a budget amendment to transfer the money from the savings to the capital
Yes.
improvement? You would? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna need a budget amendment, I guess.
If that's where you want it eventually, you know what I mean? That's why I need direction from the board of, do you want the budget amendment for next month? I mean, is that,
I don't think we need that
I
right now.
would say yes,
Okay.
because either way, we're going to need a budget amendment.
Eventually.
Well, no, not necessarily. If we decide to expense this under capital improvements, that's not a budget amendment, that's a broad area.
and you'll just be over 20,000 at the end of the year on salaries?
Correct. We will have a
You
surplus.
can wait till April or May to
Yeah, and with other budget amendments.
Right.
do it all.
So that's what I mean, like, a budget amendment really isn't required
Not
right
necessarily
now.
in this, but just to clarify what we're gonna do with this.
Yeah, so is it the feeling of the board, and you can make a motion on this if you want, to just revise this and consider it next time without a budget amendment at this point? Sounds like that's what people are saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's work.
Definitely. I mean,
All right, so Commissioner Jones, you were gonna,
could we do it now, or could you want to wait a month?
No, we gotta get this all, let the chief get all the numbers down for the
Right.
National Grid. that
since he
needs
just found out about it at 3:45 today, I think that
Yeah.
we
Chief.
know it to the chief to be able to have him
Is
take
that
care of
okay,
that.
Chief? You okay with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Commissioner Jones, you were about to make a motion?
I already made a motion to table.
I'll second.
We didn't second it, because
Okay.
I was,
Well-
you didn't, it wasn't completed, because I had asked you, because I had
Okay,
one more
I'll
question, so.
make a
So
motion.
you're making a motion to?
Table.
Table,
For further research.
okay. And seconded by Commissioner Archibald? All in favor of that motion to table it, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 7-0. Any public input?
Can I speak, Madam Chairperson? May I speak?
Yes, you may.
I feel like I'm here defending myself again, but there are some things that I definitely feel I want to comment on from some of Mr. Scullin's remarks. I actually attempted to retire in January. I really wanted to retire completely. I stayed on to help out because we weren't able to find a replacement, and then I ended up taking the position part-time, again, because we couldn't find a replacement. I underestimated the number of hours that it would take for me to work, and that is why I did request the increase. I have all of my hours documented with detail of what I am doing. I'm not emptying trash cans, that's not on my list of things that I'm doing. I'm actually detailing, and I'm still doing it, so that I can justify the hours that I do work. As far as the presentation, Jim, I think there was some detrimental information for all 4 districts. I wasn't targeting Valley Falls. I wasn't targeting any specific district. I pulled all those numbers from data that I had, factual data, and I have all the backup for all the data that I have. I really do take offense to being called a liar, and that I took these numbers and just made them up. So I want to say that if anybody does need to see that information, I can let everybody know where I got it from. I do have it. I have a whole packet of information that I used to put that together. And I apologize if any of the districts appeared to take offense to that. That wasn't my point. My point was to show the financial status of the district as it was today. And one of the reasons that I did put this together was because you had made a comment that we were near bankruptcy. And that was another reason I moved forward to do this. I probably haven't addressed everything, but that's all I can think of right now. But I just felt I needed to clarify that. And if there's anybody on this committee who feels that I'm not doing my job, please, please, call me, have it addressed, or take action at this point if anybody feels I'm not doing my job. But I really would appreciate a phone call if that's the case. So, thank you.
I'd like to thank you for all the work you do.
You're welcome.
I have absolutely no problem with the work that you do, and I know you have called me at 7 o'clock in the morning, at 7 o'clock at night, and that's not normal working hours. So I know that you are putting in the time, that I trust you. I do not think you abuse any of the hours. As a matter of fact, you probably underestimate how much time you are putting forth. So I have no problem with the work that you're doing, and I thank you very much for what you do.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Jones.
I just want to mention I stopped at the headquarters to pick up my packet this morning, and Diane spoke to her briefly, and she says, "Oh, I have to go, have a little staff meeting." So I did see that within the finance area, you're meeting with the tax collector and so forth to smooth things out, and I was impressed with that.
Oh.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Scullin. All in favor of adjourning this meeting, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Adjournment passes 7-0. Have a great month, everybody.
So I got her.